Hello and welcome to Fantasy Focus Football presented by Wingstop alongside Mike Clay and Field Yates. My name is Daniel Dopp. Very excited to bring you another Wednesday show. A lot of things. First and foremost, I want to say this. We are very excited to be here today. Field, you and I have done the first 2 days of the show. We were talking with Mike before the show to ask him, what is it like to have to do projections in Week 16 when none of your playoff teams are still in, contention?
That's such a weird thing because I was looking at the Focus League, the FF Now League,
oh,
and the Dynasty League,
it.
and I see myself in the Final Four in all of those. I don't see much of you guys.
Well, interesting. You see Daniel in 2 out of those 3.
Yeah, actually, you do see me in 2 of them. Yeah,
okay. You should have directed that right to me.
Yeah, that was you should have went to him with that. Yeah, one. I don't know what.
Well, Field showed up to work the first 2 days.
Yeah,
come on.
And how many Focus League titles do you have?
I have.
That's a goose egg.
2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
That was me 2 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
I don't know.
I won. I won 11 years ago.
Yeah,
I think.
That's
how about FF Now titles? Yeah.
Have you ever won FF Now? No.
That would be me last year too. And who's the reigning Dynasty champion?
I don't know. I did win that 2 years ago.
You actually have.
I actually have won that.
That one is true.
I really believe you and Daniel have the 2 best teams in Dynasty.
You know what? This sounds like Cowboys fans now after they lost.
Yes,
last week,
that's
they're
true.
Like, yeah, but technically we have the all-time head-to-head lead on the Eagles, so it's fine.
It's just fine.
Like,
No
I've
big
been
deal.
seeing that on social. It's like, come on, man. Like, really, is that what helps you sleep at night? Or, just take the L right now. Yeah.
There's a saying that nobody cares about your fantasy team, but if you're listening to Fantasy Focus, you probably care about our fantasy teams. I think you guys have, and there's 4 teams left in our Dynasty League. My team last year, I had a veteran squad that had been forged in the fire, and we got the job done. But we understood that if it wasn't then, it might not be ever.
Yep.
You guys are the young bucks. We're like, Mike's team's already won, and you're like, how the hell does Mike have CeeDee Lamb and Puka Nacua and Jamar Chase? Like, that's not possible.
It's a great question.
The problem is I don't have a quarterback.
I know, however,
and a super flex
but
league.
still, and then you look at Daniel's team, and you're like, Daniel has Bijan and Drake London and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Zay Flowers, and I'm sure I'm forgetting people.
Jamison Williams and Bo Nix, Trey McBride, and I have
holy
CJ
crap,
Stroud.
That team is freaking loaded. I'm glad my team got its title last year because I might not win one for the next decade with you 2 in that league.
You'll be fine. You'll bounce back.
Well, fingers crossed, though. He doesn't win for a decade.
It would help if I didn't have a bottom 5 quarterback and Lamar Jackson is my QB1.
Yeah, that's not great, unfortunately.
We'll talk about that.
We may dive into that a little bit
on
on the show.
List, fellas.
Quick little bit of love to our friends over at Trophy Smack. Head on over to TrophySmack.com. Use the promo code FOCUS10 for 10% off your order over there. And shout out to our buddy Eric Moody. Joined the show yesterday. Make sure that you go follow him on social media at Eric N. Moody and hang out and chat. Ask him all the questions. Obviously, we love Eric. It's going to be a very fun show today. We're making a bunch of gut calls heading into Week 16. Field, this is a really fun idea that you kind of brought to the table. Rather than just say, hey, who are we going to start this week? Let's just talk about, what are you feeling?
I'm using this name completely arbitrarily. So if somebody is out there sweating whether to start this player or not, I apologize. But I was saying to the guys before the show, at some point you've done enough. Do we or do we not start A.D. Mitchell? If you have been relying on A.D. Mitchell in some way, shape, or form for the past 3 to 4 weeks, you kind of understand the experience, right? He had a great game. He also has had 3 relatively nondescript games for fantasy purposes. So you get it. If you're playing him, he's a Jets wide receiver. It's probably because you're hoping for that miracle again. But I think most fantasy championships will be swung by some of the guys that we honestly don't talk about as much because it's generally you're still starting Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Which would be an ideal place for me to start.
Oh, let's talk about
Jonathan
that.
Taylor.
Wait, hold on. Before you do that, I think I have a good name for this segment.
What are you going with?
Feelings or facts?
Hey, I like that.
I like it.
Facts and facts.
Yeah. Mike.
Feelings and facts.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just thought of that on my own. That's
really good. Yeah, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with a feeling.
I was just going to say we got to give her some credit.
That becomes hopefully a fact by Monday night, late Monday night. The final game of Week 16 is the daggum Colts playing host to the. Is that how he says it?
Dadgummit.
Yeah. The 49ers.
Close enough.
And it hasn't been a great month plus for Jonathan Taylor.
No.
And now, some of that is unfair, and it's been created unfairly by himself. Jonathan Taylor was MVP, or at least right there with Christian McCaffrey, the first 10, 11 weeks of the season. He hasn't had 20 points in a game since he had 49.6 against the Falcons during that international overtime game in Germany.
That seems good.
That was like 5 or 6 weeks ago. However, my first gut call is that Jonathan Taylor rushes for 150 yards and a touchdown on Monday night against the 49ers.
That's 21 fantasy points right there.
Which you take, and I think there's going to be even more potential juice to squeeze there for JT. Let's start here. Flat out, full stop, even though it wasn't super productive, I thought the Colts offense was better last week than I expected it to be.
I would agree.
Like, I was fearful that it was 8 completions for Phillip Rivers on 22 attempts for 47 yards, and defenses could literally just sell out against the run and make Jonathan Taylor a 1.7 yard per carry player because they've got 13 men in the box. Wasn't perfect from Phillip Rivers, but he at least completed 66.
Did you say 13 men in the box? I just realized you said that. That is illegal in case anyone's wondering.
2/3 of his passes were completed last week from Phillip Rivers. Not great yardage by any stretch, but like more
Very
functional than I thought.
Yeah.
So that's good right there. Okay.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Taylor last week had 28 opportunities.
Sure did.
25 rushing attempts,
Huge.
3 receptions as well. Now let's look at the matchup. That's the important part here. Is the Colts defense, by the way, played well last week. They did not allow a single touchdown to the Seahawks. Jason Myers just went off with 6 field goals. First time that's ever happened in Seahawks franchise history. But last week against the 49ers, Tony Pollard had 100-plus rushing yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
And check this out. Or check out this.
Whoa.
Or
need
maybe
one for
this
you.
checks out. I know.
This checks out.
This
There it
checks
is.
out. Oh, that's so good, Field.
Every player that has finished as the top scoring running back for his team against the Niners this season
Yep.
has scored above his season-long average, with the exception of one player. That was Rico Dowdle.
Okay.
Remember that Monday Night
Did you
Football
look
game?
that up?
Yeah.
Did you grind through the numbers and pull? That
in
sounds
my-
like a me stat. So
It does.
You're welcome, Mike.
I like it. Yeah.
Actually, let's be honest. Kyle Soppy helped me out with the tool a while
That's
ago
right.
that tracks these things. So
Okay.
Kyle's the GOAT.
Shout out to Thirsty Kyle.
So Kyle, thank you for
Still
that.
love
So
that,
if you just to say that one more time, the highest scoring running back against the Niners in each game this season
Yep.
has scored above his season average, with the one exception of Rico Dowdle.
It's a great stat.
It would be tough for Jonathan Taylor to get above his season-long average, but even if he gets right to his season average, you would take that. So I say JT has a monster night on Monday.
Love that.
Playing at home, too, which helps.
I have him top 5. I have him projected for 24, right there with the elite guys. So definitely the massive percentage of their offensive touches is something that's
Should and
driving
will go
force.
through him.
Yeah.
And the matchup's a lot easier. So, yeah, I'm worried about his absolute ceiling compared to earlier this year. But, you know, with this matchup and his volume, I'm with you.
Okay, all right.
I like it.
I am going to go next if you guys don't mind. I'm going to bring to the table Rashee Rice because I think Rashee Rice will still top 18.5 fantasy points with Gardner Minshew under center.
Projection 18.
Is it really?
Yep.
Look at that. Well, then I
guys
might
are
even go a little higher. Well,
Patico.
we're gonna lay out the thing. We're gonna talk about the player, the matchup, and obviously the quarterback situation. But with Rashee Rice, elite volume since returning in Week 7. He is 5th amongst wide receivers in targets over that span, behind Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown,
Kenneth Gainwell.
Michael Wilson, and Wan'Dale Robinson.
The fourth one.
I wouldn't have guessed that. So, but he's 5th. The 3 worst games he's had this season: 6 for 38 on 9 targets against the Broncos, 4 for 34 on 8 targets against the Texans, and 7 for 51 on 11 targets against the Chargers. Every other game, he's been over this 18.5 point mark that I just gave you. And those are 3 really good defenses.
Yeah, terrific. Yeah.
Right? Every other game, he has topped 18.5 fantasy points. Let's talk about the matchup now. He gets the Titans this week. Do you know that's a really good matchup for wide receivers, guys?
Sources are saying that, yep.
5th most fantasy points to wide receivers. Here's what they've done recently. Week 10, they had a bye. Week 11, they allowed Nico to score 24.2 fantasy points. Week 12, they allowed JSN to score 37.1 fantasy points. Week 13, they allowed Jacoby Myers to score 21.3 fantasy points. Week 14, even Jerry Jeudy got in on the action with 16.6 fantasy points. And then last week, Juwan Jennings had 18.7. Ricky Pearsall had 15.6. Wide receivers are eating against the Titans. So the question is, can you trust the quarterback situation with Gardner Minshew coming in under center? Since 2022, he has played for the Eagles, the Raiders, and the Colts.
Wow.
He has started 24 games over that span. Gardner Minshew has. A wide receiver playing with Gardner Minshew has topped 16 fantasy points in 17 of those 24 starts.
Wow.
Also in those 24 starts, a wide receiver has had at least 9 targets on 18 different occasions. So in 18 of his 24 games, his top wide receiver was seeing at least 9 targets, which is exactly what we're looking for if you got Rashee Rice on your squad. I think he was already being ranked a starter. We weren't not starting Rashee Rice, obviously, But I think I have less trepidation in the fear of Gardner Minshew, knowing what he's been able to do in the past, and this matchup is just so good. Minshew doesn't have to be elite. Just find the guy and put the ball in his hand. So I've got him still as a top 5 wide receiver. I only see a marginal drop-off right now.
Definitely like the short-range targets too, right? Those are
absolutely
much higher likelihood throws.
Just pepper him with those. Give him 12 short-range targets. I'm good with that.
I hope you're wrong, because in the 48 semifinals I have this weekend, I'm facing him in 32.
Okay, all right. That's fair. It'll be a tough one. It'll be a tough one. Sorry about that, Field Chase.
It's not quite 48. It's not quite 32. It's 2 out of the 6.
Yeah, I was surprised how poor Minshew has been as a fantasy quarterback the last couple of years, the last 2 years when he started. But you're right. We don't really care about that.
I don't care about him.
We're in the Final Four. We're not streaming Gardner Minshew unless you're in a super flex league. So just get the ball in the hands of Rashee Rice, maybe a little Kelsey, and maybe get Xavier Worthy going somehow. I don't know. If there's a week, it's going to be this week.
No. Yeah, that is the most fantasy football thing ever.
Yes.
That if Xavier Worthy has his first 20-point game of the season.
It's in week 16 when no one's starting him because we've already given up.
Brian Thomas last year. With
Brian Thomas last week.
Lawrence goes out.
Potentially.
Thomas goes off.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, Mike, what about you? What's your big call?
I don't like it because I don't want it to happen, but I like the call because I agree with this.
Appreciate it.
So you guys both picked kind of high-end fantasy players and a little bit of turmoil to have big weeks. I'm going to do the same, and mine's probably the boldest of the 3, even though it might be the best player of the 3, Justin Jefferson. 20-plus fantasy points for the first time ever with J.J. McCarthy.
I'm out.
Under center. You're out.
I'm out.
With the Mark Cuban hat
This is great. I'm glad we get to have this conversation.
I want to talk about it.
I want to talk about it. This is really good.
Some reason for optimism. Look, he had 8 targets last week. I know that it didn't work out well, 22 yards and 2 catches, but he had a lot of close calls in that game. He actually had a touchdown, and it was called it was an illegal formation, which was a guy standing a couple feet away from him. It has nothing really to do with the play. He would have scored anyway. And maybe the conversation's a little bit different.
I just want to say this. On those plays, when an illegal formation happens on the other side of the line because someone didn't line up 6 inches farther back, does that really affect the outcome of the play?
So I agree with that. The only thing that I will say is that the ref is calling the flag as the ball is snapped.
So it's not, there's no question. It's like this happened before. Okay.
So it would be,
you get the sentiment.
Frustration, but I want to take there's enough that we complain about with the refs that I think is valid, that I want to give them their pass there, because I have had that same thought, and then I have reminded myself, I get it. There's a process involved with those flags.
My least favorite is where the guy's sprinting off the field to get off the field, and he's like a half inch. You're looking at replay, and his foot's still in bounds. It has nothing to do with the play at all, and they throw a penalty for 12 men on the field.
Rodgers got the Dolphins last week. With
well, he's great. He's so good at that.
There should be some sort of
yes.
There. If the guy's leaving the field and it's just common sense, Common sense. Anyway, a lot of close calls for Jefferson. He's been under 12 fantasy points in 6 straight. He does have a 30% target share with McCarthy.
That's huge.
Season.
That's tasty.
He had a couple touchdowns early this year with McCarthy, a couple decent games. We thought they would increase him there. It has not. I get it. But this is a good matchup. They're playing the Giants, top 8 in catches, yards, touchdowns, and fantasy points allowed to receivers. They've allowed 30-plus fantasy points to opposing receivers in 5 consecutive games. There's a lot to like from that perspective. And just watching that game last week, I felt like it was close. They're missing. They keep missing. I mean, really, 5? Now it's been 4. What did I say? 5 straight games? Yeah. 6 straight games under 12 fantasy points, some of them with McCarthy. I know that's seemingly a long stretch. It is for a fantasy season. It's not really a large sample, and the targets have been there for the most part. So I think that it's variance gone wrong here. I know their connection hasn't been great, but he's hitting Jalen Naylor.
I watched
even
a
TJ
YouTube
Hawkins
documentary
up
variance gone wrong recently.
Yeah, I feel like it's close, and I think this is the week against the Giants where the connection hits for at least one touchdown. Maybe he catches 5 balls this week and gets to 20 points. I think this is the week.
Also, I've got Jalen Naylor on my dynasty team. Maybe I should try to move him for somebody.
This is great. Okay, this is actually perfect. So a lot of times when we're doing board best, it's quarterback 6 versus quarterback 10, and we split the difference. It's quarterback 8.
Yeah.
Mike and I are 22 spots apart on Justin Jefferson.
Where are we at? What were the rankings at?
11 for Mike.
Yeah.
33 for me.
Wow.
I can't believe you're that low.
I think I was 21.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. He's been awesome recently.
Dude, when you say I can't believe
Justin
it.
Jefferson, though.
Right, yeah.
What is that?
Great.
But okay, but
Justin Jefferson with the 30% target share in an offense that scored 8 touchdowns in their last 2 games. Yeah.
So this is
where
it
doesn't add up.
You're right. As a numbers person, it doesn't add up. And so if you're not a numbers person and you're just am I going to keep trusting this? I'm just banging my head against a wall and it's not working.
I have an idea. Let's do a not just a board bet if you're interested,
Of course, yeah.
but also a chat vote and see which side they're on.
Love it.
So in between 11 and 33 is 22. Do you want top 22? Are you comfortable with that? That's a pretty darn good bet for you.
Yeah, I will take it. Yeah.
Okay. I say Justin Jefferson is not a top 22 wide receiver.
I say Justin Jefferson is a top 22 receiver in Week 16.
Put it on the board.
Put it on the board.
All right. So can we throw a chat question in there as well and see which side they rest on? Will Justin Jefferson finish inside the top 22 of wide receivers? Yes or no? Wow.
I'm going to guess the answer.
That's crazy.
I'm going to guess.
That is crazy. How about, do you mind if I go next? Because I'm going to follow along with that because I talked about him yesterday, but I wanted to bring it up with Mike here.
I wrote down my guess, so we'll see and make sure.
Because I think that J.J. McCarthy scores 20 or more fantasy points for the third straight game.
Okay.
I don't think the internet's giving me enough
Love for this field. That's why I'm bringing it up. You called this like weeks ago.
Here's how it works.
None of us wanted to trust him, and you were like, I will plant my flag on this dude.
You have a rare good call. You have to brag about it. It's just how the internet works now.
It's just like spiking after a touchdown. It's fine. I have no issue with that too.
Yeah.
People don't like when you do
us, field. That's all it is.
I believe that's aura farming. Isn't that what they call that?
I have no idea. I hope it wasn't something I shouldn't have done, but they do it all the time.
We're 40-ish white guys. We're not exactly the people to be the authority on celebrations of the end zone. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about J.J. McCarthy really quickly. 250 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, plus 15 rushing yards, and a touchdown this last week. We talked about it on yesterday's show. 23.5 fantasy points. Back-to-back games of 20 or more fantasy points. He had great matchups in both of those games and has another great matchup this week.
He does.
I brought up the idea of am I worried? And I would maybe change the way that I'm looking at it. If the Northeast was really snowy or it was bad weather. Field looked it up yesterday. Weather might not be as big of a factor as you might think in December in New York.
It's getting downright warm up here. It's going to be 55 in Connecticut on Friday.
That's crazy.
I'm going to the beach. Or my pool.
That's a little too far.
I just need the snow to melt
off the driveway. Yeah, that checks out.
Anyway.
Our focus has really been on Justin Jefferson and how bad he's been with J.J. McCarthy. But if we just look at J.J. McCarthy, he's done what you expected him to do against 2 bad defenses.
Yeah.
He has 6 total touchdowns over those 2 games. Took advantage of Washington, took advantage of Dallas, and he's done this. I want to think about it like this, and this is what I'm trying to do. He's done this without Justin Jefferson. Mm-hmm. What happens when him and Justin Jefferson do hit?
In week 17.
And then,
this week.
And then it's a guarantee. If Justin Jefferson gets to that 20 fantasy points, I feel like J.J. McCarthy is at least going to get to that same mark again this week. So again, a third straight matchup, even if he hasn't been able to find a way to get Jefferson involved, I still think it's possible with the matchup and the way that they're utilizing him. So I'm going to say third straight game of 20 or more fantasy points for J.J. McCarthy.
I like it. All right. My next one is, have you guys seen that new social media bit where the admin from an NFL team goes around the locker room and calls players by their government name?
Government name.
So they'll be like Michael Lester Clay, right?
Yeah, Junior.
Junior, sorry. I'm going to break out the government name today to show you how serious I am about this next call.
Okay.
Bad McDonkey goes over 115 receiving yards against the Cowboys.
People don't realize that.
They don't get it.
Joke Farderson. They're just their real names, okay?
I don't think also people appreciated one of the funniest things that I have seen on TV in a long time. And it was a little bit too inside baseball for all of, not just the audience, but the set to understand it. But for those that may have missed fantasy football now, go check out Mike's social handles right now because he posted the video.
It was so good.
Of him talking to his team. And I'm going to step back because Mike was yelling. And he was talking to Lad McConkey. And he goes, like that social post, lad. And it made me downright cackle from about 30 feet away on the set.
That's a callback to something we talked about on this show.
Yeah.
And it was a week 4
It was
or
like
something?
week 4 when Lad. The amazing part about that is that no one gets the victory lap, that debate back in the day, because it turns out they all stink.
We were all.
However,
It's true.
not this weekend. When Lad McConkey, his actual government name, goes for over 115 receiving yards against the Cowboys. I don't really need to give you guys a whole lot more advice beyond the fact that they play the Cowboys, who, by the way, have allowed a receiver to reach 17.5 fantasy points, at least one of them, in 6 of their last 7 games. I'm going to give you a chance to guess the offense that could not produce a 17.5 point receiver against the Cowboys.
against the Cowboys.
Yes. The last 7 games
in their last 7 games.
Yeah,
Just think about
it was the Philadelphia Eagles.
No. The Eagles, they got there, don't you?
Oh, I thought you were doing that to troll Mike.
Oh,
maybe.
They went up 21-0 in that game and then lost.
Yeah.
I guess AJ Brown probably scored
They
there.
had good days there. Yeah.
I can't remember. I can't remember who teams played.
Just think about awful offenses. The Raiders, of course.
The Raiders.
Raiders.
Oh,
of
right.
course.
I thought he was going the other way with it.
I did too. I was like, the Rams? Was it Puka and Devontae?
Exactly. That's where my head went.
That's usually how Mike leads us into questions. You did the opposite of that.
Well, I'm very sneaky. Ladd McConkey has a big day on Sunday. 115 receiving yards against the Cowboys is my guy.
I'd like to do the thing that we do with Drake May, where we call him Lad Bad McConkey. And we do his full name, with the nickname in between.
The problem is I have to decide if I'm going to start him in the FF Now League.
I was trying to convince you right there.
Yeah, because I also have George Pickens, who's on the other side of that game in a tough matchup. Against the Chargers and Tyrone McMillan.
I like young Lad
I have
there.
to pick through a lot of these guys. So
let's hope so. I would love to have a big week for Lad McConkey. I would just like to see him get back on track, to be honest, with everything going on here.
Yep.
So, all right, Michael.
My turn. Guys, I believe that on Thursday Night Football, a down week from the Rams offense is going to knock a lot of good teams out of.
Ooh. Wow.
And I'm in jeopardy here because I have a little bit of Puka Nacua. Actually, my Kyron team, I had him on one team. That's out, so I don't have to worry about that. But Devontae Adams, unlikely to play. They're giving him a shot, but he was out of practice yesterday. I can't imagine he's going to go. But I'm really worried about a lot of these guys. And we're going to get into some of them later on in the show, so I won't do a deep dive on Matthew Stafford and Kyron Williams just yet. But Puka Nacua, you look at this Seattle defense. They've allowed the 4th fewest fantasy points to receivers, the fewest over the last 8 weeks, the 2nd fewest to the perimeter, the fewest yards, the lowest yards per target, the 3rd lowest catch rate. Since week 7, one receiver has scored 15 fantasy points against the Seattle Seahawks. And these teams played in week 11, and you might think, well, they probably, I don't remember Nacua and Adams having bad games at all for the most part.
Whoa.
They did that week.
Contraire.
Hold on.
They did that week. Puka Nacua had 14.3 fantasy points, which for him is horrendous. And Devontae Adams had 7.1 points in that game.
Now. Moreover, those 7.1 fantasy points came in the most incredible fashion.
Like fullbacks, one snap of the game form.
1 catch, 1 yard, 1 touchdown for Devontae in that game.
Yeah.
You said there was one wide receiver that topped 15 fantasy points since week 7?
Correct.
Did you have it on your note who it was?
No.
It was Chimere Dike.
Of course.
Of course it was Chimere Dike.
And by the way, you know why that happened?
Punt return touchdown.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
They
what it was.
are nasty.
So, again, we'll talk more about this throughout the rest of the show, but that's my my issue here. I think that you could have a down game from Stafford. You're going to have no Adams.
No Adams.
Nacua-
You don't think.
We don't think. We shouldn't say.
We don't
Unlikely
think.
to have
We'll say
We
it
want to
tomorrow
reserve
officially.
the right because it has kind of the winds have shifted ever so slightly.
And Nacua, maybe with Adams there, maybe he does score and have a big game just on 15 targets. That could happen, but could be a down game. People are going to be streaming Colby Parkinson.
Yep.
I don't know how that's going to work against this defense. Kyron Williams in the running game we'll get to later, but that's a concern as well. So I'm really worried about the Rams scoring, just having an underwhelming day on Thursday night.
Do you have Devontae Adams projected right now?
No, I removed
No, he's
him.
not.
Yeah,
Okay,
I removed him.
so if he does play, if we find out Thursday, hey, guess what? They're going to roll out with Devontae Adams against this defense. They're going to have a lot of managers in a situation where, are you going to trust Devontae?
Classic pickle right there. I probably would say, I just got to hold off there. I probably have to hold off there.
I would hope I have better
really
options.
Because I think you're going to
Really
get some reporting that's he's going to be limited to which would be hilarious. Only red zone work.
It's what he should have been in
3
the first
for
place.
3 and 3 touchdowns.
Yes, yeah.
But you also worry about a setback there with the hamstring.
For sure. One bad play and he's gone.
I'd be honestly, they're trying to win a Super Bowl. I would be shocked if he plays.
I mean, also,
I would be shocked.
We obviously know that Sean McVay loves Devontae Adams. Loves the guy. He named his second-born son, who was born on Monday, Devontae McVay, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
It's actually not the truth.
It's Puka.
It's Puka, yeah. No, it's actually, the amazing part, it's Christian.
Is it really?
It's Christian.
okay.
Yeah. So most importantly, congratulations to Sean and his wife and their growing family. He's got 2 sons now. It's a beautiful thing. And,
Love that.
think about the timing there. You've already got this incredibly condensed week, and then nothing is more important than the birth of your child. So that's a wild 100-ish hours there for the entire McVay family. And welcome to the world, Christian.
That's right.
He gets... I'm sure those boys will be very, very into football like the parents are. Anyways, I agree with you on this Rams offense. It does make me nervous. 13 for 20 was Matthew Stafford's stat line when these two teams played. Now, it was a funky game because Sam Darnold threw 4 picks.
Yep.
So they weren't playing as much. There was just kind of quirkiness to it, shorter fields, etc. That being said, definitely an interesting game to kick off Week 16.
I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to bench Matthew Stafford in a league for CJ Stroud. And I don't think at any point, I know, but like at no other week this season would I have ever made that decision.
This topic is the second half of the show today.
All right.
We're a lot on quarterback.
All right, deal. We'll go into a bunch of things.
Careful how much.
Last gut call for you.
Last one for me is I believe that Jahmyr Gibbs will be the first running back to top 20 fantasy points against the Pittsburgh Steelers this week on his way to a 35-point game because, of course, we're going to have
no one's gotten the 20 against the Steelers?
Nobody at the running back position is top 20 fantasy
Even
points.
H-Man last week.
Jahmyr Gibbs has at least 36 fantasy points in every other game since week 7. This is the week. This is the every other game at home. He's got 16 touchdowns on the season, 62 catches, 494 receiving yards. Both are third amongst the running back position. He's third in the NFL in yards before first contact, which is not an offensive line stat for Jahmyr Gibbs this year.
Yeah.
That's just him being unbelievable at what he does, averaging 22.7 points per game. Steelers are allowing the 12th fewest fantasy points to running backs this year, but over the last month, they've actually allowed the 13th most fantasy points to running back this year. Week 10, Kamani Vidal had 17.8. Week 11, Chase Brown had 18.7. Week 13, James Cook had 18.7. Week 15, Devon Achane had 18.7.
Wow.
3 straight running backs to hit 18.7 fantasy points against them. But the Lions are in a win-or-go-home spot. They're going to have to rely on their running back. I don't think they're going to be able to do what they did last week. It's going to have to be a huge game for Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know about the 35, but I do think that he will be the first running back to top 20 against the Steelers this year.
So you mentioned back-to-back games of allowing exactly
18.7
fantasy points.
Yeah.
Very unlikely that happens, right? I have I don't know if it's as quirkier, a little bit less quirky or
all right,
as
let's see
quirky. But I'm playing my buddy Lefty in the semis of our league this weekend. And Lefty and I have played already twice this season.
Okay.
We have decimal scoring here, so it's not full point scoring. He has defeated me by exactly 1 point in each of our first 2 matchups.
Wow.
No way.
And the funny part was like the first one was like a 154.26 to 153.26. The second one was a pitcher's duel. It was like 100.4 to 99.4. So we played 2 very different games.
Yeah, the locker room defense talk worked for the second one.
Yes.
They obviously got better, but not
Yeah,
quite.
they say it's hard to beat a team 3 times, so
Yeah.
you have the edge here.
Let's hope so. I do love Lefty, though, so if he beats me, it's okay. My last call here is Ashton Genty. It's held under 10 fantasy points this weekend. And it may not actually sound that bold, does it? I mean, let's go through some of what's happened to the Raiders offense all year, but highlight the last 6 games. Over the last 6 games, the Raiders have scored a total of 7 touchdowns. 7 offensive touchdowns over the last 6 games. 5 of those have been by Brock Bowers. He's very good.
Yeah.
3 of those came in one game for Brock Bowers. Genty has 1 touchdown in his last 5 games. I mentioned yesterday he's got a total of 95 rushing yards over the last 3 games. So do you think against this Houston defense, I'm being serious here, do you think he gets to 45 rushing yards?
I'll say yes, but
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we'll get to 45 just because I'll have 15 carries or so.
Okay.
Figure average 3 yards a carry.
I would be surprised.
Okay. So I probably lean towards Daniel there. Do you think he will score a touchdown this week?
No, I
Just
don't.
based off of their
I wouldn't.
propensity for not scoring.
I'm at
right?
52, so
Yeah.
median projection's probably like 47 or
Right.
so.
So the interesting part is, so Mike's projections, just to remind people, if you just add up the rushing yards plus the receptions plus the receiving yards, it's not going to equal the projected points because it's going to include some portion
Decimals.
of a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Point two
Which for him,
touchdowns.
It's low.
Point
But still,
0.1 or
8.4. Yeah, it's
So you
like,
got
yeah.
0.16 for a rushing touchdown, 0.12 for receiving. So maybe like a 1 in 3 chance he scores. Yeah.
So the bottom line is this, is that like Ashton Genty, who has 1 touchdown in his last 5 games, I'm bearish on the rushing upside here. And the receiving upside, even if he gets 4 to 5 catches, he's averaging 5.4 yards per catch. It's pretty much dump-off city.
Yep.
So this defense facing off against the Houston, the Raiders' pathetic offensive line, like the Houston defense is one of the scarier units to face this year in this week in fantasy.
Yeah,
Like, could they get 17 fantasy points this weekend? They absolutely could.
totally.
So I'm just worried about a remix from last week. And one thing we have seen the Raiders do is when it's absolute blowout city, they have preserved Ashton Genty. So I got Ashton Genty under 10 fantasy points.
Yeah, the Raiders projected to score 12 points.
Yep, that's
as a
the implied
team this
total in
week.
Vegas, too.
Is that the same number? Yeah, it's very close.
So
if
the
not.
over-under is, I believe, so the over-under is
Usually close, yeah.
38.5, and the Texans are favored by 14 in this game. So do the math.
There you go.
26-12 is basically, the Vegas implied score is 26.25 to 12.25.
So Brock Bowers scores a touchdown, and everyone
Maybe,
else struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
You know, it's been kind of a low-key disappointing thing for fantasy this year is Daniel Carlson used to be a great fantasy kicker.
Yes.
They play in that field. He's got an absolute bomb of a leg, but they just don't get any field goal opportunities.
Yeah, this is why our projections for kickers are so driven by the
Good
who you're
offenses.
playing, good offenses, and who you're playing against. That's so important. And it doesn't, unless you're, Aubrey, and you can just kick from
Except for
anywhere on
last
the
week.
field.
Yeah, he had a couple of
But he
rushing
left
yards.
like 12 fantasy points on the board last week. If you play decimal scoring, he left a 61 and a 59-yarder,
Yeah,
right?
and that's scoring, yeah.
And he had like a bootleg on a field goal run where he should have thrown the ball and he would have had a passing touchdown.
That would have been sweet.
So like that was that. I don't know. That'd have been a thing. Mike,
Actually, the best kicker in fantasy was seeing the team on the screen, the Colts.
The Colts.
First month there until he got hurt.
Yeah.
The Colts kicker was leading everyone.
Spencer Schrader.
That's right. Last one for me, guys, is actually going to lead right into our next topic. My prediction is, bold prediction here, is Taylor Shuck will be a top 5 fantasy quarterback this week.
whoa.
Yeah.
Like it, Michael.
Ready to
Whoa.
go? There's
Ready.
a bold one. 17-plus fantasy points in 3 straight and 4 of his last 5, and he's only made 6 starts.
Yeah.
So he's been pretty good. 16.7 fantasy points per game
had him.
during that span is 11th among active quarterbacks, ahead of guys like Joe Burrow, Bo Nix, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson.
You said he's 11th. Does that mean he's better than Jacoby Brissett, who's been quarterback 12?
He's been 12 or better. No, Brissett's like 2 or 3.
Okay, all right, got it.
More
got
on
it.
him shortly. Shuck only 6 passing touchdowns during that span, but he's playing well and he's adding value with his legs. 28 carries, 127 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns over his last 4 games. And guys, they're at home playing against the Jets. And we just saw the Jets go into Jacksonville last week and get absolutely demolished by Trevor Lawrence. He had 44.3 points. The Jets now in the season top 10 in passing touchdowns and fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks, despite having faced the 5th fewest pass attempts. Teams don't have to throw on them, and they're still putting up huge numbers. 0 interceptions for the Jets this season. They just fired their defensive coordinator, which once in a while you see a team get a little juice when they make a change like that. But I think the way Shuck is playing and them being at home and the way the Jets are out of it and struggling, I think he's set up for a big week.
This late in the season to fire your defensive coordinator after you've traded away all of your blue chip defensive players.
Who's your guy, too?
Like
I think Steve Wilkes and Aaron Glenn were like,
they were close.
Man,
Yeah.
man, it's tough. Cold business. We are going to, I like the call on Tyler Shuck, by the way. Happy for the Saints. Like, they've kind of played themselves out of the quarterback conversation for right now going into the draft. And by the way, it's the perfect draft to do that.
Yes.
It's the perfect draft to not need a quarterback because it is limited inventory at the very top.
Maybe you go Shuck and a veteran next year and just see and build around that and then see how it goes and then go for the quarterback if you need to.
Everybody is going to respond with the same joke. Tyler Shuck already is a veteran. He's 25, 26. He had 7 years in college.
Veteran competition.
2 things here. 1, we're going to get to our poll result in a question.
Yes, we are.
But 2, change the spot us. Tua Tagovailoa has been benched
It's happened.
by the
Quinn
Miami
Ewers?
Dolphins. Quinn Ewers is taking over for the Dolphins.
Concerning.
You know, it's funny, Mike, because my gut reaction when I hear about this is that I am less optimistic on the offense as a whole for Miami, but B, I'm like, it's not like Tua's not been good, right? Is there any fantasy takeaway that immediately, if you're starting Tua, you're an absolute animal for winning that many games with him as your fantasy second quarterback?
Oh, no, you're not starting him. He's been
Super flex. Like, he's
Even
been
then.
so bad. Like, I'm just saying.
He's like QB 31 or
Double super flex,
What did I
triple
say
super
last
flex.
week?
quarterback league, whatever.
I think it's like 45 qualified quarterbacks.
he's been
He's like
brutal.
43rd in fantasy points per game. He is being beyond atrocious in fantasy.
So, bottom line is this. It has been a brutal season for Tua, and yet I still feel like I'm maybe less optimistic here with Quinn Ewers. Quinn has a couple of things going for him. Quinn does have the advantage of, like, Tua's put on a lot of bad film.
Yep.
Quinn hasn't put the bad film on yet, so he has a little bit of the benefit of the doubt that, like, maybe he goes out there on Sunday against Cincinnati, and you're like, oh, wow, why did this guy have to sit on the bench for the first 15 weeks? 7th round pick, guys.
Yeah.
Like, this is not, it's not the Miami
Extreme long
Dolphins.
shot.
Handed the keys off to a 2nd round pick. Now, it's a great matchup to build some confidence, right? But for the guys that move the needle in fantasy, Devon Achane, not really, right? Like
I
he's
still
still
have a
the same.
question.
Just give me the targets for him. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say is Quinn Ewers going to dump the ball off as much as Tua did, or is he going to try to find a way to push it down?
I'll tell you what, he's more mobile than Tua. Not by a ton, though.
Okay.
I'll tell you that much. He's a good athlete, but he's not a great athlete.
We still want Devon Achane's volume to be there in the passing game.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And we actually joked about this, or not joked, but we laughed at this a couple days ago on the show. Devon Achane's projection this week.
It's amazing.
It's enormous.
Yes.
28.61 points at last check.
Does it go up
when
to
you're
35 now?
When you're already up there, I mean, and in a neutral matchup, he would be right there with those top guys.
Yeah, of
He's
course.
been that good.
Yeah.
So when you add in the fact that you're playing the Bengals, so you should be able to score more than usual, more than the Dolphins offense usually scores. Not to mention how poor they are against running backs. I mean, that's going to add a few points to it. That vaults you from 24 to 20, 27, 28, whatever it may
We
be.
weren't laughing to say we disagree with you.
Yeah.
We were just like, the number makes your jaw drop.
Yeah.
You're usually pretty, I don't want to say conservative, but like
that's
we
fair.
don't see a 28-point projection for
they're
running
mean,
back.
They're mean projections. They're not meant to be like, I think Isaiah Bond's going to catch a 42-yard touchdown, so I'm going to rank him 19th. Like, I'm never going to do that.
No.
They're supposed to be level-headed. So
To be clear,
yeah.
You're the GOAT at the projections, and there's no close second. That's why it was so interesting.
Yes,
It's such a
agreed.
huge number. Tua benched, Quinn Ewers in, Zach Wilson still not starting for the Dolphins. Suppose a little bit of interesting news there. But Jalen Waddle, to me, a little bit of a downgrade.
He's already
yes.
going to draw DJ Turner a lot
so-
in this game. More on that tomorrow. So downgrade. We'll get into that tomorrow more. But I think the biggest one, honestly, in terms of decision making, is actually Darren Waller.
I know.
Like I was thinking about scooping him up. I picked him up in a couple weeks. Maybe stream him after last week. But with no Tua, it's just risky now. I don't think you need to take that risk now. So I'm less likely to
Great
use it.
matchup, though.
It is a great
I had that on
matchup.
my topics list for the
it's
week. We'll see if we dive into that tomorrow.
We said that last week for what it's worth. We said it was a great matchup for the Ravens tight
The
ends.
Bengals are at least a little more competent lately. They've been a little better.
Yeah,
They're-
I mean, they had the
have
game
been
against Lamar, which
trending
is
the right
solid.
direction.
Yep, totally.
All right, before we dive into the next segment, we're going to take a quick question from our YouTube chat. This one comes in. It's the poll results.
oh my
Will
goodness.
Justin Jefferson finish inside
Nice.
wide receiver 22? 64% said no. Mike literally wrote down
Nailed it.
64% no.
You are an
That's not
animal.
real.
How did
Show
you
that.
know
Can
that?
can we? Is there any chance we can see that on the screen? Move it over a
Can you see
little.
that?
I don't know if you can see it. It says 64% no. I cannot believe you guessed
That's why I didn't want
that.
to say it out loud because I wanted to see if I could actually get it.
That is
Holy
unbelievable.
Wow. You are.
This is why you're the projections guy, Mike
You know what my
Clay.
best skill is? This is so funny. When Meg and I watch Jeopardy,
Yeah.
when someone gets a daily double,
You
I can
can
see into their
forecast.
brain and say like 3,000, like their wager, and I get it like really close or right on like every time. It's
officially on the hot seat. O's the mentalist.
That's
Mike
right.
Clay's
Yes,
coming for you.
Mike.
I won't go that far. That guy is unbelievable.
All right, let's get through a couple of things here because we do have the quarterback segment.
Yes,
have
we
a
do.
board bet to pay off, and we got to spin the wheel.
Okay. Oh yeah, we got to go through these quick here.
Yep,
Right?
let's do these quarterback battles. Right?
Yeah, we did talk a lot about these, but guys, I was looking through quarterback rankings and like just before
Upside down week, right?
Yeah, it's an upside down week. In fact, I was looking at it and I was like, you can make a case to bench the likes of
Give me the answers.
Joe Burrow,
Yep.
Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence after how good he's been, Lamar Jackson, Bo Nix, Matthew Stafford. I think that's the end of the notable
think
list.
the
But you can
least-
make a case to bench all of those guys, and that's where the kind of the setup for
I
this.
feel like the least compelling player to sit that you just mentioned, believe it or not, is actually Joe Burrow. Like,
Yeah.
those other guys, none of them played great last week, but they're mostly matchup driven, right? Dak versus the Chargers, Bo versus the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence versus the Broncos. Like Joe plays the Dolphins. Like,
I
should
still, and that's why I have him at 10. But you can make it's a
But he was
conversation.
bad last
That's-
week, of
that's
course.
low for
Yeah.
where Joe Burrow's
Yeah.
generally been. So here we go. I'm going to say it with 5 head-to-heads between some quarterbacks.
Okay.
Give you a little background. You guys tell me which way you'd go. Then I have a bonus at the end at a different position. So
Love it.
First one, just talked about him. Tyler Shuck against the Jets. I just laid that case out. Up against. This one might actually be easy based on what we said earlier. Matthew Stafford in Seattle. Seahawks, again, dominant against quarterbacks. Only 2 quarterbacks have hit 20 against them this year. One of them was not Matthew Stafford, who had 130 yards and 13 fantasy points in week 11. You know that if Stafford's not big through the air, he's going to let you down because he has -8 rushing yards so far this season. And he's been outside the top 10 in 3 of his last 5 as well. So what do you think? Shuck or Stafford?
I'm going Tyler Shuck, and I'm just, I'm going to answer these questions, and then I'm going to move on and not acknowledge them further because these things could blow up in each and every one of our
Yeah,
faces.
this is one of them.
Tyler Shuck, moving on.
Yeah, it's tough. You don't want to answer?
I have Matthew Stafford ranked a spot higher than Tyler Shuck, but after everything that you just laid out about Tyler, it's tough to be able to not think about it. Yeah, so I think I may change my rankings after the show to Tyler Shuck.
At home are in the dome, which helps. Road and home teams. I mean, there's a lot to like. All right, guys, next one. Lamar Jackson, one of the best players in the league.
Unsubscribe.
In an offense that scored exactly 2 touchdowns in 6 consecutive games. Lamar under 12 fantasy points per game during that stretch. It's been gross. They're playing the Patriots. A lot of big game to the Patriot or to Josh Allen last week, but only 2 other quarterbacks have hit 20 against him. So you have Lamar in a tough spot here. Or J.J. McCarthy in New York to play the Giants. We talked about him earlier, so I'll leave it at that. A good matchup against the Giants. Who do you go with? Lamar or McCarthy?
I'm going to go Lamar, but I'm assuming Daniel goes JJ.
I'm going JJ.
Okay, I'm going Lamar.
It's close. I actually McCarthy projected just ahead, but it's close. So I'm going to lean toward Lamar. I think I'm still nervous about McCarthy just having a.
Should we score these like we did?
I was just gonna
big calls a few weeks ago.
Oh, I love that.
Like red zone, like a mini red zone.
Yeah. I will say this. I think it's hilarious that we're in week 16 and these top quarterbacks, we're talking about benching for these guys. Mike, I know you got more on the list, but unbelievable that we're even having a conversation about Tyler Shuck or Matthew Stafford, J.J. McCarthy or Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson. Like, unbelievable that we even have to have this conversation. I think I would go with both of the 2 guys that you wouldn't expect so far.
You're the 2 wild cards so far.
Okay. You're right.
I got Shuck and JJ.
Okay.
I
have
you got really nice handwriting.
It's funny. I'm hedging because I have McCarthy projected higher, but
I can barely read my own. So I appreciate that. I'm trying.
We'll see if my projections or gut work better. Based
on I like
how it works out. Okay. Next one, guys. CJ Stroud, who, look, 3 passing touchdowns last week, but he's been a little boom bust. He has as many games with 18 points, which is 4, as he does games under 11 points. He doesn't have much upside. He's on pace for a career high in rushing yards, so he's adding a little bit there. And they're playing the Raiders, who are very inefficient against the pass. So good spot for him. But again, not much of a ceiling for CJ Stroud. The competition here is the guy who was the top scoring fantasy quarterback last week with 44 points, Trevor Lawrence.
Most points by a quarterback in a game all season.
And he has been incredible for a while now. 5 consecutive top 12 fantasy addicts. Now, he's no Jacoby Brissett, who is 9 in a row, but he's been pretty good. 17-plus fantasy points in 8 of his last 10. And the 2 he didn't were against literally the 2 best defenses against quarterbacks, the Chargers and Texans. So other than them, he's at 18-plus in every game. He's doing it with his legs and his arm as usual. But, guys, he is in Denver to play a Broncos defense that's allowed the 4th fewest passing touchdowns, just 14 this season. They've allowed 3 weekly quarterback finishes better than 12 this season, 1 during their last 7 games. So do you stick with red-hot Trevor Lawrence, or do you play a little safer here with C.J. Stroud?
I'm going with the matchup and C.J. Stroud.
Okay. I am going with C.J. Stroud as well.
Me
this
too.
is a okay, so all of us. This is a fantasy conversation, to be clear. I just want to take a moment to note, though, C.J. Stroud is playing phenomenal real-life football. Very impressed by him. So
is Lawrence.
I'm not disagreeing with you. But we're trying to make the case for the quote-unquote underdog.
Lawrence.
So very impressed by the way that he has played C.J. If you told me he threw, not guaranteeing this by any stretch, but there's a 4-touchdown game in there somewhere for C.J.
Oh, against the Raiders?
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns
Totally.
last week. Yeah. It's incredible that the average age of the starting quarterbacks in the AFC South is 39. With 3 youngsters and Phillip Rivers.
Unbelievable.
Sorry.
Is Rivers the last one? This battle?
Is that what it is?
All right, so we have 2 unanimous and we have 1
this.
dissenter so far. What's the last battle?
Next one. Now we got 2 more quarterbacks and then a bonus here. We have time. Next one, guys. A guy that has 18.7 plus fantasy points in 9 straight games. He's been a top 12 fantasy scorer in all 9 games. Has 2+ passing touchdowns in 8 of the 9. It's Jacoby Brissett. During the last 10 weeks, number 1 at quarterback in pass attempts by 56 completions, yards. He's 2nd in passing touchdowns. He's QB4 during this span. He gets the Falcons this week. They've allowed 19+ fantasy points too. Bryce Young, Tyrod Taylor, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield just since week 11.
Wow.
So it's a great spot for Brissett.
That's really nice.
And Brissett just had a top 12 fantasy week against the Texans of all defenses.
Yes, he did.
First one to do that all season.
We were surprised. You maybe were surprised more than most. Maybe your girlfriend was surprised by that one.
Yeah, everyone was. Yeah, her
eyebrows were quite surprised.
Yes, were surprised.
Yes.
I forgot the joke that quick.
Sorry. That was your joke. You're the one that brought it to the table.
I don't remember anything. Guys, you go with Jacoby Brissett or the guy who led the NFL in basically every passing category last season, Joe Burrow, coming off a dud last week, 0 touchdowns against the Ravens. He now has as many duds as he has big games this season. He's not rushing the ball at all, but he's playing the Dolphins, so it's a pretty good matchup. They actually have allowed the highest completion rate to quarterbacks this season. So do you go with Burrow, who, and also I'll add this, Burrow 2 weeks ago had a huge game.
He did.
Bills, 4 touchdowns, 284 yards. So do you go Burrow or do you go Jacoby Brissett?
I'm going with Joe Burrow.
Wow, okay.
I'm going with Jacoby Brissett.
I'm going Brissett. I have Brissett in my top 5 this week.
Crazy.
Great matchup, and he's been incredible.
One thing that's really interesting about Jacoby Brissett since he took over as the starter.
Please, would love
It'd
that.
be fascinating to see what happens in this game in general. You guys tell
I think
me.
I know where you're going with this. I was thinking the same thing. I have the same fear here,
Okay.
I think. Let's see what you say.
Tell me, these are the games that Jacoby Brissett has started for the Cardinals, and you tell me which of these opponents you would consider a game in which it's like they should be favored or it's at least close.
Yep.
The Colts with Daniel Jones back in October.
No,
The
not
Packers,
back then.
The Packers.
Nope.
The Cowboys.
No.
I know we know about them now, but
No, I
still,
would say-
at the time.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Seahawks.
Nope.
The 49ers.
No.
The Jaguars.
No.
Buccaneers. I know they are not perfect,
Yeah.
but they're
Yeah,
up.
I'd take we're picking the Bucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Rams.
Rams, of course.
Definitely.
The Texans.
Dude.
They have faced a juggernaut schedule, it feels
Yeah.
like.
I will say this. I know the Texans jumped out in front of them last week, which was actually our fear was that game would be low scoring and he wouldn't have the garbage time. But he was like hanging in there early on. It wasn't like he just dumped it all on them in the fourth quarter. But I agree. I'm a little worried about them. It's at home, right? I think it's in Arizona this week. Yeah. Like they are competitive or they're leading in this game and he just doesn't have to do as much.
That's my fear exactly. It's like this game is like the final score is 21-16 or something.
Yeah.
I think there is something about the idea that Jacoby Brissett, even against all of those like really good defenses, that feels not only obviously so positive for him, but like how damning is that for Kyler Murray? That like
very much is, yeah.
Like other teams are going to be like next season, it's like, wow, he got replaced by this veteran.
Yep.
And he crushed it against all these other guys when Kyler was so bad. That's going to be such an interesting conversation next year. I know it's not today.
I can't wait to see where Brissett lands. I hope he stays put, honestly.
That veteran, where's he going to go to be for, especially if we don't love the draft right now for quarterbacks?
I'm telling you, the second or third or fifth act quarterback is the story of the offseason between Kyler, Jacoby Brissett, potentially Mac Jones, guys like that. Joe Flacco, maybe still.
Yeah.
Danny Dimes, who I think, because of his injury, probably stays in Indianapolis, but still, that is the story of the offseason, at least in the early goings. Besides potentially Joe Burrow being traded.
Yes.
All right, Mike. Last one for the quarterbacks, I believe.
All right, last one.
Bonus?
Yeah, last quarterback. Bo Nix is the first one here. He is facing the Jags, one of the better defenses. They're mid-pack, but they've faced the most pass attempts this season, so they're very good. Third lowest EPA against the pass. Bo Nix's rushing has kind of dropped off the last month or so, but he's second in pass attempts and completions. And he's
one's dirty.
He's definitely been boom bust. Guys, he has the Jags. Bryce Young has the Buccaneers. Allowed the second most yards and fourth most fantasy points to quarterbacks. They've allowed 18+ fantasy points to the opposing quarterback in 6 straight games, 25.3 fantasy points per game, including some young fella by the name of Kirk Cousins, who put up 26.9 last week. By the way, Bryce Young last week, 49 rushing yards, is his second most in a game in his NFL career. He's been boom bust, but he's had some good games as of late. As the better matchup, do you go Bo Nix or do you go Bryce Young?
I'm going Bryce Young just because of what I saw last Thursday.
I got to stick with Bo Nix.
Okay.
I have Bo Nix higher. I did move Young. Young moves up. Nix moves down, but I'm still going to give a little bit of an edge.
This will be good to actually track this because we're in agreement on 2. Shuck and CJ Stroud. That's Shuck over Stafford, CJ Stroud over Trevor Lawrence. Daniel's on an island on JJ McCarthy, and I'm on an island at JJ McCarthy versus Lamar. I'm on an island with Burrow over Jacoby and Bryce over Bo.
Wow.
All right.
Fun.
So
This is gross. This is week 16.
This is
People
exactly
go home
my
after
challenge.
this week.
You know what this is? This is a reminder, as Mike Clay likes to tell us, it is a weekly game.
It is a weekly game.
All right, Mike, what's
Always
your
a
bonus?
weekly game.
wild week. All right, here's the bonus, guys. I had an interesting one at running back, so I wanted to bring it up. We're going to start with Aaron Jones.
Okay.
Aaron Jones has the Giants this week. He's yet to reach 16 fantasy points in a game this season. He is single digits in 4 straight. However, he does have 14+ touches and 65+ yards in 2 straight. He played 60% of the snaps last week. And the Giants are allowing an NFL high 5.9 yards per carry to a running back, which I can't stress enough how atrocious that is. You've allowed the second most fantasy points to the position, the 5th most touchdowns. It's a great spot for Aaron Jones, who's healthy now and trending up in a good matchup, which we've talked about. The guy on the other side of this is a guy I'm a little worried about this week for the first time in a while, and Kyron Williams. Worried about the Rams running backs. So let me spell this out on Kyren. Weeks 1 through 9, he averaged 16.5 carries per game. He's down to 13.1 over the last 6 games as Blake Corum has played more. He does have 13 touchdowns in 14 games. He's been bailing you out. He's been scoring every week pretty much, and that's kept him alive in fantasy. He's become almost a zero in the passing game. This is very much a worry here. 13 or fewer receiving yards in 8 straight. He's a total of 7 targets in his last 5 games. His fantasy point totals in 4 games in which he has not scored this season: 10, 10.4, 8.5, 5.8.
That's a touchdown-dependent running back.
Yes, the Seahawks have allowed 6 touchdowns to running backs this entire season, and the 7th fewest fantasy points to running backs. They have allowed the most running back catches this season. That's not part of Kyren's game. I just laid that out. But the 3rd fewest rushing touchdowns, actually, just 4 of those. 2 of them were receiving that they've given up. The lowest yards per carry to running backs at 3.5. Kyren did have a good. Now I will say this: Kyren had a decent game against them in Week 11, 16.6 points. He had 96 yards. He did find the end zone that got him into double digits. But Blake Corum wasn't as much of a factor in that game and had 9 touches, just 1.5 fantasy points. Corum's been playing more now. So Kyren maybe falls into the end zone and gets you an okay day, but I am very worried, and like I laid out at the beginning of the show, that the Rams are going to cost some teams the ability to advance this week, and I'm very much worried about Kyren. So
somebody
let me
that
ask
could
you,
help him is Devontae Adams being out would help Kyren.
Yeah, at the goal line, perhaps. Yeah. And I don't know. Puka's talking up Kanata Munfield, so I don't know. He might be his big game. He'll be a fun. He'll be fun in like over at DraftKings.
Yes,
like
that's where that would be like a fun
Thursday night.
You can do it.
He'll be cheap. Like I haven't looked at his price for that, but
I'm going Aaron Jones. Who you guys going with?
I'm going Aaron Jones. Okay.
Here's the tough thing for me. Like, Aaron Jones hasn't been nearly as efficient on the ground as Jordan Mason. Yeah, he's been getting passing game work. And so when you talk about how bad the Giants have been, there's a part of me that just wonders, is this just like if Jordan Mason is just running the ball at a nice clip, do they let him continue? Because he's been that guy for them since week 11. Over the last 5 games, he's been a better rusher than Aaron Jones. I think because of that, I would still go with Kyren Williams.
Yeah, you're on an island. So Mike has no gumption. He has no courage. He has no strength. He merely agrees with at least one of us on all 5.
Yes.
I do?
Yeah.
Why? That was my topic. What do you
Actually, when you say that, it is sort of backwards. He is the one that had the stance first. I guess we didn't have.
No, we have the courage.
Oh, no, yeah, because I said, I don't care where you're at. I'm letting you know where we're at. You're right. Yeah.
Right.
You have no courage.
Yeah. You're like the cowardly lion.
Well, yes. I don't care about courage. I care about being right.
That's what you're like. I want wins. Who cares about courage?
W's.
Oh, man. All right, we'll track those over the next week here.
That'll be very fun to be able to see.
Let's pay off a board bet quickly. Can I tell you guys something?
Yeah, let's be real quick about it.
I don't think I actually won this board bet, and I'll tell you why. It's weird. So the crux of my argument last week for Jackson Dart, who you guys had as quarterback 1,
yes,
and I gave you guys top 6. He ended up finishing as quarterback 10 with a solid day of 22.14 fantasy points.
Good day.
My feeling was that Jackson Dart was not going to be tapped into at all as a designed rusher. That didn't happen at all. However, he did call his own number from the 1-yard line and almost scored a rushing touchdown, and he had 60-plus rushing yards. He's just an awesome scrambler, is Jackson Dart. Now, he was also checked for a concussion for the 5th time this season, guys. It's unreal. Great. So
not great.
I don't expect the Giants to let it rip at all for the next 3 weeks with Jackson Dart as a runner. He will be used as a pocket passer and a scrambler only.
Well, we don't like that this week. Although I do have him ranked as a QB1, I need him to run because he's playing the Vikings, and he's not going to light it up through the air, you would imagine, against a team that's been – actually, they've allowed the 3rd fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks, the fewest over the last 4 weeks. So it's a tougher spot. He's moved down, but honestly, his rushing is what keeps him in that conversation. He just keeps doing it.
How about feeling like you just got 22 fantasy points out of your quarterback and you check in and it's like, oh, he's QB 10 on the week? Someone else probably had a better quarterback than
he was. I looked at this. He was 2 points off of Josh Allen for top 6 finish.
Okay. So it's tight.
He scores that rushing touchdown, he would have been in easily. Yeah.
Gosh.
All right. Shall we spin the wheel?
Let's spin the wheel, my friends. We got a punishment wheel. I don't really want to talk about what the lineups were because it was really bad. I don't know if it was as bad for you. Obviously, it wasn't as bad for you guys. It was a gross week for my squad.
I actually had a good week, I think.
Yeah. I think you did.
Cool, guys.
You had
Kenny
Lawrence?
G and Trevor Lawrence. Yeah.
I had Dallas Goedert. He had a big game. Do we have the results?
Yeah, let's go ahead and look at what the lineups were real quick.
Just a recap. Lamar. Neil got hurt. He was off to such a good start, and he got hurt.
Ooh, baby, I got 76, and one of my guys went for a 0.
Yeah, that's
Neil
really good.
would have had 40 though if he played
right,
the whole
right,
game.
Okay, okay.
Right.
So
well done.
Mike had Lamar Jackson 14.6, Devin Neal 10.2, Khalil Shakir 11.5, and Dallas Goddard, as we say, 25 fantasy points.
Dallas.
That was
Harris, who goes by
61.3.
Godare.
Yeah, Fields crushed it. He had Trevor Lawrence. That basically just won him the league right there. But then he also had Kenny Gainwell, the running back for the Steelers, Arthur Juan Brown at 12.1, and then a goose egg from Isaiah Likely.
I have screwed up every wild card pick this year.
It hasn't always worked out great. I took Jared Goff. He actually had a really good week too. 25.5 fantasy points. Omari and Hampton absolutely fell flat. 17.5. Devontae Adams. 7.5. Devontae Adams, my wild card, 11.1. Unfortunately got hurt, left that game early. Yep. And because of that, with Isaiah Likely also getting a goose egg, I fell almost 20 full points short of Mike Clay. It wasn't even close right now. We still have a start of the week that we need to pay off at some point.
Yeah, based on
figuring it out.
Current weather in Connecticut.
You want to do it Friday?
We'll have a choice. We might not thaw out until April at this rate.
We'll have to see. Maybe we do a swap. Maybe we do
there's somebody else to go.
We got to
in
go
there.
to a mall and play indoor mini golf.
Do we have a mall with indoor mini golf?
Nate,
around
it's
here?
on your way, right? If you go.
Yeah, it's an hour and 45 minutes from here. No problem.
Well, hey,
that's not our fault. Yeah, shouldn't have lost the week. All right, here we go. I'm going to spin the week. Our wheel.
I hope you get mini
No
golf.
whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Stop. A hot sauce week. I've already done hot sauce. Do I do it again? Do we do it?
You've done hot sauce?
Remember he did the chips and he went.
Oh, yeah. No, go again.
Spin it again? All right, we're going to spin it again. All right.
No fun to repeat the same one.
I want a t-shirt from Rosie. That feels like a reward.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Stop. Winner
tweets from loser account.
All right, I'm going to set my best lineup of the year. Let's go. This is great. Winner tweets from the losers.
Does that mean that because I won this past week, I get the tweet from your account?
I think that's what it means.
Or does it mean that Mike or I can? Okay.
Is that what it is? Is it that? Do you get to? How does this work? Is it?
I'm assuming it's like one tweet, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to figure out some things.
I think I'm going to go with
live tweet during the pod.
I'm not a high volume tweeter, so people are going to be like, "Wow, Daniel put out a tweet. Let me see what it says." Oh my gosh! If you guys get me canceled,
top 5 musical artists. No, I won't get you canceled. It's probably going to be something, music
something fun,
right?
Yeah,
it's got to be.
Oh yeah. I have some ideas.
I just wanted to say.
Maybe we should consult on this.
I was just going to say. I just wanted to say that the Lions.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare! There is a line you cannot cross.
That line, I promise.
The Wiggles, you can. This is part of the punishment. It's like my top 5 favorite bands: the Wiggles.
Yeah, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. Like, what other things can we throw in there?
Teletubbies. Yeah.
No, we have way more
good stuff than that.
Worse ideas. Than
yeah.
that.
Let's go ahead and head over to the mailbag. We're going to take a couple questions before we close this thing out.
Chat could help us out with some ideas.
Ooh,
Yeah, maybe
idea.
not. Maybe chat probably would be too good with ideas. Yeah. Louis Garcia wants to know, Clay, defend Dart at number 8, please.
Go.
This must have came in minutes before we just discussed it. We actually didn't see that before we talked about it. But look, tough matchup against Minnesota, but he just continues to add so much value with his legs. I think, and he's playing at a high level. I mean, he's
playing at a great level.
He is a top 5 quarterback when he has played this season. I know it doesn't feel like it because he's been out and didn't start early in the season. The Giants stink, but he is top 5 in fantasy points per game at quarterback. So even if you downgrade him in a tough matchup, the floor from his rushing. Yeah,
it'll be very interesting to see when we vote on fantasy rookie of the year who gets our vote, because we haven't had a lot of good ones, but
NFL rookie of the year. Offensive rookie of the year. He's
honestly,
in that conversation.
Could be that same thing.
Guys, the beat goes on. Who is the offensive rookie of the year? We had this debate on Monday.
Yeah.
We had it on text.
It's a long list. Yeah. There's a long short list.
Long short list.
The betting favorite is Travion Henderson at DraftKings Sportsbook.
That's wild.
That feels very recency biased.
If he's if he's the offensive rookie of the year, does that mean Ramondre Stevenson is the offensive player of the year then? Since he keeps playing ahead of him?
I actually think there's a case like Henderson, if he has like 2 more big games the rest of the way, then he could A, get to 1,000 rushing yards, and B, drive some late season interest, and C, like influence winning, right? The Patriots are 11-3.
Yeah.
That is one thing Jackson Dart is not influencing right now, is winning for the Giants, unfortunately.
Maybe not, but if he puts up some big numbers the last few games,
an important position too at quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
If there was a year to consider like an offensive tackle, this is probably it.
This is it.
Yeah, you're right.
Why not? All right, next question that we have here. This one comes from JP wants to know, would you start Darren Waller or Dawson Knox?
Dude, I know we talked about it earlier, but Darren Waller gets the matchup of all matchups.
Yes, he does.
I'm going to go Waller, even with the quarterback change. I'm just not there yet on Knox because Kincaid's a factor. He's going to steal a touchdown here or there. He's still playing enough when they're throwing the football. I'm just not. I don't even have Knox in my top 30. Like, I'm just not there.
Wow.
Not enough consistent targets there.
Okay.
Not knocking on your rankings.
Wow.
Nope. Not your best work.
No. All right. Let's move ahead to the last question.
That wasn't a joke. It was just.
It was just a thing. Jackson Zimmerman wants to know, should I start Mike Evans over Jalen Waddle? Evans is projected to score less, but Tua just got benched for the season. We didn't even really talk about Mike Evans.
I believe I have Mike Evans ranked higher than Jalen Waddle already.
I did as well.
Yeah,
I know you were a little more.
I moved Waddle down. I have Evans lower. The concern with Evans that I have is he was heavily targeted weeks 1 through 3 and didn't have any games. I don't think he hit 12 fantasy points in any of those games. And now he comes back from injury, is limited, and has a big game. Does that continue? But you have Godwin. They're working in Jalen McMillan. You have Ibuka, who had a decent game last week. I'm nervous that he's going to be a little boom bust. I don't know if he's going to sustain enough of a target share in Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't
wonder, but they have that 1,000 yards to reach.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think it's like
250 yards a game,
something like that.
Yeah,
it's like 215.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not as optimistic on Evans, just with all the mouths to feed there, and the fact that they're scoring like 2 touchdowns a game, not the 3 a game they were scoring last year. So a little worried there. I'm leaning Waddle, but I'm very nervous there. So I have no issues going Evans.
You're worried the Bucs are going to score 2 touchdowns, or they're averaging 2 touchdowns a game. Do you think that the Dolphins with Quinn Ewers scores 2 touchdowns?
Probably
against Cincinnati, maybe.
I mean, against Cincinnati, maybe.
Yeah, it's a good point. Against the Bengals, probably.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
I think I probably will end up with Evans ahead with Ewers in there, but I have to do some work on that after the pod.
I think I would land there as well. All right. That's going to do it for today's show. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
Mike, love that quarterback head-to-head battle.
That was really fun.
Thank you.
Good job, everyone.
That was good job by chat by Eric Moody. Everybody here being able to pull their weight. And shout out to our friends over at Wingstop for presenting the show today. Thank you for them as well. That's going to do it for today. We'll be back tomorrow, not only previewing Thursday Night Football, but diving into our first preview for Week 16 to get you set for your playoff matchup. Don't forget to love each other and be kind to yourself. You guys deserve it. We love you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.